Hi and welcome back to my channel. First, I just want to say thank you to everybody who watched and subscribed to last week's video, and apologize for forgetting to upload yesterday. I have reached the point in quarantine, as I think many of you also have, where time and days of the week have become completely and utterly meaningless. Today we're going to be talking about tips and tricks for if you suffer from any kind of bloating, be that menstrual related and it's consistent, or something dietary that's a little bit inconsistent that will fluctuate throughout the day, and how to integrate that into your historical costumes. First and perhaps most obvious tip is that you're going to want to stay away from garments that are tailored to be a certain size all of the time, that have no stretch and no give. So things like kirtles that button up, if you're doing medieval, certain 19th century garments. I'm not quite as knowledgeable in that time period, but I've definitely seen a lot of blouses that just close up the center front with buttons and there's no real give to them in any way, or anything along those lines. Now, if you're willing to be a little bit less historically accurate and you're okay with doing a stretch fabric, you can potentially compensate for this by using a stretch fabric, thus giving you a little bit of give to work around your tummy. The other option would be to try and stick to garments that lace up. Ideally, garments that have side lacing. There's certain late Renaissance, I believe, garments that fit this example really well. I'll include some pictures here. The 18th century is also really great for this because you can excuse yourself to the restroom if your garment doesn't have visible lacing, pop off your stomacher real quick, adjust the lacing on your stays, and then pop it back shut if you have to. It also has a lot of give and can cope with a little bit of weight change if your bloating is a little bit more steady, and you tend to be about the same size throughout the day. You can make most eras work with this pretty easily just because people have always bloated, and even if bloating wasn't the issue for everybody, most women became pregnant at some point in their lives. A lot of clothing, typically before the 19th century, and also, for some classes as well into the 19th century, were made to be able to cope all the way through pregnancy. If clothing was made to cope through an entire pregnancy, it can definitely handle whatever you bloat. Now, that's not to say if you really want to do a garment with buttons that you can't. However, I would recommend either having a hidden lacing panel somewhere or a decorative one somewhere, and then the buttons either just being, sort of like a garment that has a zipper but also a lace is an added way to get into it with ease, or purely decorative. Or as I mentioned earlier, using a stretch fabric if you really don't want a lacing panel and you're okay with doing it. Of course, if you're doing an era that doesn't contain any kind of structured garment, you don't really have this problem at all, such as the Viking era or very early Middle Ages, when you don't really have a structured garment that you need to worry about containing your belly. So the last thing I'm going to show you before I go today is a little trick I've developed for lacing into a garment that has a single lace if you're really bloated. And I'm going to be showing you this with my stays. They currently aren't bound and they're not completely finished, so don't judge them too harshly, but they are the same ones I showed in my stays for rib pain video. As you can see here, I'm not spiral, but rather ladder lacing my stays. I feel like this method holds them in place a little bit better when you're lacing in yourself, and it's just a bit easier to control the tension on each individual rung. Oh, and what have we here? A second lace? I find it's much easier to control the tension because you can lace one side all the way up and have another a little bit looser if you actually start a second lace right under your bust where you're going to want chest control. Ignore me fumbling to understand how to lace the stays that I've been trying to lace and season and check the fit on for the past month or so. Sometimes everybody just has those moments, I think. Now that I'm fully laced in, I'm just going to tighten the lacing where I can and make it a little bit more secure, making sure to leave it plenty loose and plenty of room over my belly. As you can see, there's a little bit more gapping where my stomach is, but it's still laced nice and flat, the way you want stays to, giving you that nice conical shape. Alright, I hope at least a few of you found this helpful. If you did, I'm so happy, and I can't wait to see what you make with it. If there's a different condition that I have not yet touched on that you would like to see me talk about, or perhaps I did talk about it but I didn't answer your specific question, please let me know in the comments and I will make a video on that as soon as I can. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all next week, this time on time. Bye-bye.